If you have played Stalker before, you should be very familiar with the group known as the Monolith. They can only be described as fanatics who will willingly give their life in service of a shiny rock housed in the exposed reactor of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Their ferocity is mighty, their gear is overpowered, and their taunts are by far the best in the entire game.
Червь, ты будешь растоптан!
But as a serial maniac himself, Wavey has to see, can you best the Monolith and beat the game as a cult leader? So the idea here is actually really simple. We can't attack anything. Companions and NPCs are our only source of defense and offense. The primary mod we are including is the Warfare A-Life overhaul. The overhaul allows us to play story mode alongside Warfare mode, and if you have any experience with Warfare mode, you'll know you can simply take a squad from your faction and have them follow you like little puppy dogs. Now you see where I'm going with this. We are the antagonist to the Monolith's wish granter, so it makes sense that we'd have the power to convince random people to lay down their lives for us. Time to convert the zone to the Great Wave. First things first, we need to choose an appropriate faction. Freedom was our choice, since they're usually out smoking so much dank you can get them to believe anything. The way this works since we're role-playing here is that you can't just recruit anybody anytime. Instead, we have to make it worth their while. So we need to talk to a stalker first, trade with them, and donate them a substance of sorts. This time I'll use beer. I mean, free beer, they're practically obligated to die for us. But before we build an army of useless paper-thin idiots, I wanted to capture some territory in the army warehouses. With our early recruitment, I sicked my boys on the duty folks over near the Rostok entrance. And since my companions have minimally functioning brains, they decided to throw a grenade at themselves, basically. What's fun is he actually got some duty guys with some other explosion. Wouldn't keep me long though, cause a couple other explosions deleted my existence from the game, and yes, I didn't click save. But my charisma is easily at 9, so I redirected some troops over there to help me out with those pesky duty soldiers.
Братья, внимание! Противник!
And of course we had to re-experience our explosive annihilation, except this time I had some tree next to me. On the way out, both my friendlies got smoked by some duty patrols, so I made a beeline back to base. Tried to find some more goomers to join my ranks, but it appeared nobody wanted to talk to me. They must have seen me recruit those earlier guys and come back without them. Instead, I went to explore the nearby territory of the truck cemetery when we stumbled across these guys. Somehow, the gentleman in the exoskeleton was eager enough to accept my gift, and we welcomed Yurka Sorcerer into our midst. You'll remember this name, because this guy will be with us for the rest of the playthrough. I made sure of it. We'll also learn he's a top 5 stalker in the zone and the most powerful Freedom member. Not a bad trade for a single beer. With a heavily armed squad, I figured it was a good time as any to go see Doc and begin our mission. Trekked through Dark Valley, the meadow, and then into Cordon, where everyone got killed except Yurka. He took care of everything. Once we passed into the Great Swamp, I met up with some Clear Sky stalkers and then got ambushed by the military again. I thought being inside the house with Yurka would have been safe, but I was dead wrong. Second time around, we gave Yurka a little more space to operate, and that's when he brought the SVD out. And after that fun, we traveled west to Doc, got hurt by an anomaly I should have known better, told Doc he should quit drinking or he'll end up in a cult, and we got spooked by a pulse anomaly right into the clutches of some doggos, which wouldn't have been such a big deal until the pseudo dog took a chomp out of my rear bumper. But eventually we made it down to the Clear Sky base so I could talk to Cold. He wanted us to defend Clear Sky from military stalkers. That's not happening. So we jumped back home. After a nice night's rest, we trekked across the zone over to the Agri-prom Underground. What's cool about Freedom is they're allied with the bandits, so the Agri-prom Underground isn't all that hostile, outside of the various mutants. I got scared as soon as I walked up to this door, turned around right away. Then clever little Wavey thought, hey, let's go skip through this tunnel here to circumvent all that noise. Yeah, you see how that went. Door it is. So we waited here with Yurka until a crackhead broke through. Yurka did take care of it, and almost blew my head off in the process. He also murked the poltergeist that gave me a little scare earlier. And in this large bloodsucker area, we took our time. I led another crackhead on a chase, and led his dumb ass right to Yurka's gun. Almost too easy. And we had no problems from here. Documents? documents, and we were out of there. I got killed while looking at my PDA for too long and admired the beautiful sky for a good minute and a half. Usually after the underground, you'd go see Barman, but he's in duty territory, so the game was kind enough to send us to Aslan in Dead City instead. We talked to him about Straylock, bought some recruitment juice, and yes, made another recruitment. Now we welcomed a few mercenaries, including a few exoskeleton gentlemen. When we made it back to base, I managed to acquire some more recruits. They had heard how good the beer was that I had been giving out and wanted to try it. It's too bad that beer convinced them to stop what they were doing and join me at Hail Death. For some reason, 3 guys in exoskeletons gave me a really false sense of security, so raiding the duty base was next on the menu. Guys weren't doing very well by the looks of it. The AI in Stalker is, challenging. Mainly because it's a complete crapshoot of who gets who first. Point-blank range seemed to be the hardest part for my guys to figure out. They didn't do a very good job of it. But if persistence is enough, then I think we may have some semblance of a chance. I was left with my exoskelly boys and another, but we managed to smash a hole through the duty base entrance here at the north. We waited for a new squad to show so we could have the territory here, but I ended up recruiting them instead. And duty only had about 5 more squads, so Wavey told the boys to sit and went to do a little scouting. Surprise was not me when I found everyone at the duty base. We did what we could, which was attempting to coerce the enemies back to my boys so I could maybe lay an ambush. But duty didn't seem very fazed. I watched as Yurka got killed and watched the rest of my poor idiots get embarrassed. And the impatience in me boiled over, so I let out some frustration with God Mode and an LMG. With my newfound calm, and this duty guy who may or may not be on some suspicious substances. No, seriously, what is this guy doing? What a freaking wacko. Anyways, we went around the other side of Rostok. I told my guys to wait again. We went into the bar, had a snack, and then started a giant firefight with duty. The basic idea was hit and run. Let my guys do a little damage, and once they got a little beat, call them back, let them rest, and repeat till duty is no more. After a long and arduous process of getting my mercenary to deal with the down duty soldier, we did manage to finally take over the duty base. It wasn't so bad. And with Rostok in our grasp, we reignited the passion of beer in a few people and shipped off to the wild territory where I was promptly shot by some duty brats. Somehow, my guys got them in quickly too. They must have been practicing. That or the beer from last night finally wore off. We grabbed some territory, met some mercs, and ran off to Professor Zakharov, where I succumbed to my horrible situational awareness yet again. My favorite pastime is planning, but also failing to plan, because I didn't have enough money to do anything with Zakharov, so I asked him for work instead. His mission was in Dead City, so that's right, I went to the Great Swamps to do that mission for Clear Sky I've had for a long time. I get distracted while playing Stalker, leave me alone. This was actually really simple, it was only 2 guys, I should have just done this a long time ago. But nonetheless, the donation to the beer budget from Cold was well appreciated. We went right back to Zakharov with the money and made him get started on the psy-helmet. 2 days as per usual for us to screw around and scrounge up more people with addictive personalities to fuel my war. It was a productive set of days though. First was the Red Forest, where my guys decided to lurk after the lurker instead of shooting it, and where we failed completely to do anything about the bridge to Lamont. Then we visited Garbage, where we captured nearly everything with no pushback until a little firefight in the southern part. I also took a blood donation from a friendly, how nice of him. And we pretty much just slept the rest of the time away. Now came one of the biggest tests of the playthrough. We have to see if it's possible to do a lab with no guns, no knife, no nothing. Just our stupid, useless, beer-fueled NPCs we dare call companions. Of course, it couldn't have started any better than a random controller giving them love taps while they figure out how ladders work. It was fun, 20 guys navigating ladders and pretending we killed the controller by falling on it. But what wasn't fun was how long it took to deal with one bloodsucker. Now if you're curious, because I know I'm going to hear, but Wavey, the companions won't leave that one spot, well, you're wrong, because I have a mod that teleports my companions to me. At least, I'm under the impression I'm able to bring them along in the lab, but I find this to be harder than it seems. They didn't seem too responsive until the bloodsucker started playing Ring Around the Rosie with them. The rotunda was certainly challenging. My guys didn't seem to know how to operate firearms with snorks nearby. My one friendly was at least trying to help. Whenever I had a problem, I tried to let him deal with it. Though I did have to convince him to shoot the thing in front of us sometimes, which took some work. And almost cost me my life. After a lot of suffering, we did turn off the machine and teleport our friendly to the top. Unfortunately, a zombie took his life, so we decided to make a break for it. Screw you, Bureau, and more importantly, screw this damn controller. I thought I could be clever and close the door on him, but joke was on me. Even though it said closed door, you can't close that door. Next, we got demolished by a bloodsucker. Oh, did I forget to mention that? Yeah, I did, because it wasn't there last time. I hit on the control panel like a scared little stalker, then ran past the Bureau and bloodsucker as fast as I could. We had a plan for the controller. The idea was to use the open doors down the hallway to hide from his attack. We were close. Bigger problem was the last stretch. You're really out in the open and you can only withstand one of his attacks. And yes, I used side block. Don't question the Great Wave. But this time, I tried to get even more space from him. He took one attack, grabbed the docks, and left the lab. We figured since last time we abused fast travel to circumvent problems, this time we'd be good little stalkers and try the tunnel out. But first, let's wait for the side damage to wear off. Much better. Instead of following me, my friendlies would make a break for it once I let them move, so we had to be a bit more controlling than normal. Worked out alright, until the pseudo-giant, I just let them do whatever they want. Finally out of the miracle machine, we grabbed the team and went back to home base to re-equip ourselves. I was pretty annoyed to find out one of the interior base territories had been taken by bandits and I tried to recruit them, but today just wasn't our day. So I jumped off a building and then full speed sprinted to Gatekeeper to inevitably try to take the radar. Believe it or not, the fight at the army warehouses went surprisingly smooth. Maybe it was the hordes of freedom troops I had laying around. It was, but this didn't take more than a minute. What happens at the radar, though, sorta outlines our problems of trying to beat the game with guys who can't shoot. We had 17 going in, and we'll lose 5, all at this territory right here. And all we did was transition into the radar. After killing the last guy at this territory, I wanted to try to aid us by pulling in some squads to attack the radar territories. I thought it'd be tricky to transition in and out to get the squad to show up, but all that did was make them spawn in the Brain Scorcher territory. Sure how that works, but noted. They weren't going to help us. We pretty much had to do this ourselves. First I got chewed up by a pseudo-dog. Then I got deleted by an anomaly. Got deleted by another anomaly. And finally made it through to only be killed by the Monolith. But as per usual, persistence is key. So I hid under some pipes while my friendlies took care of everything. We actually had a lot of boys with us, so this shouldn't have been that big of a deal, depending on how many Monolith were here, of course. Didn't seem to matter much. Luck was on our side for this part. Now, being a leader means leading, which occasionally means doing something stupid to impress your soldiers. So we wanted to scout ahead a bit to see what we'd be getting ourselves into. It ended up with my face in the dirt. Shocking, I know. So I stealthed up to this wall with my entourage and let them go have fun. What proved to be the main problem here were the guys in the tunnel and this one guy in the tower. We solved the tower problem with a little razzle-dazzle, and I let my mercs deal with the tunnel. Their timing was actually impeccable because a friggin' mission was literally about to roll through. Where we were at now is tough. Doing the lab is no big deal, but getting out is. So we decided we would leave for now and come back with more followers. We scrounged up a few folks, then went back to the Brain Scorcher and scrounged up more. But all this work still proved to be relatively useless. This is how it went. Because I had so many people with me, they wouldn't shoot much. The Monolith would, but my guys wouldn't. They'd mostly get killed, which then left me with too few people to continue the lab with. You can imagine the dilemma. So we pulled our main save, put on our thinking cap. We grabbed a mod to help deal with companion inventories. That way I can manage what they all use, as well as attempt to repair some weapons for them, mainly Yurka. And with these changes, we hit the lab once more. And as you can see, my modifications to this squad worked beautifully, as they all got killed by like 1 or 2 Monolith soldiers. I did what I could, tried my best to manage the troops, lay ambushes, coerce the Monolith into joining the cults, but it'd end the same every time, with everyone getting killed. So can you beat Anomaly as a cult leader? Not if you can't use fast travel. For real, we did sort of fail the challenge here, I guess. It isn't going to stop me from completing the game, but we were required to abuse the fast travel to beat it. Take it as you will. At this point, we started to go a little crazy, like any cult leader would. We made a waltz up to Jupiter, got the heart of the Oasis, crashed the game, and got the heart of the Oasis again. From here, I had a brilliant idea to take over Jupiter, but along the way, I'd also end up recruiting a few squads. And by a few, I mean as many as I could. After a while, we had control of Jupiter and a massive amount of groupies, which meant it was the perfect time to go to Zaton and continue our mission. We met up with Beard and Rogue, and Rogue asked us to go pick up an experimental rifle from some sketchy place. This was real easy, since I let my boys play with the poltergeists. With the rifle in our possession, we convinced Rogue to bring us to the mystery man we're running all over the zone to find, Strelok. And this of course meant the Jupiter Underground. I didn't film all of this, but we actually tried this part of the underground multiple times already, which is why I tell everyone to wait and I go find Rogue. There's a lot of Monolith here, and they end up just killing everyone. Except Rogue, because he's beefed like grade A Angus. Everybody else waits, while Rogue does all the heavy lifting. Clearly he has the Pack Mule perk. I even got my first indirect kill by making the down Monolith soldier blow himself up. Get fucked, nerd. And eventually Rogue took care of them all, and we headed further into the underground. The zombies, of all things, managed to clip a few of my soldiers, including one of the exoskeleton mercs. How did this happen? Again, we took the Rogue deals with everything route, and in no time we riddled the ground with the zombie bodies. Once in Pripyat, we talked to Strelok, who informed us about the unkillable Monolith soldier Eidolon. We'll see about that. And we spoke to Stitch, who mentioned that it was weird we came here because Rogue doesn't like Freedom members. Must be something about Rogue's recent sobriety. Which leaves us with 3 new missions. Get some medical supplies, kill a pseudo-giant, and attack Lab X8 and retrieve documents. To make life easier, I wanted to control the outskirts, just like I did with Jupiter. We found a base at the river port, and apparently only one guy here guarding it. After taking care of the riffraff and donating a squad to the base, we started up again with our squad spamming. Now, with a lot of people in Pripyat, we can get started on our business. First stop, Lab X8. This proved to be tricky, mainly because Hip and Yurka kept getting killed. We pretty much just kept rolling the dice and tried to make a run straight for the generator. Magically, there was nobody up here, so we started the generator, fell down a stairwell, and ran to the lab. Unfortunately, I took everyone with me into the lab, which was not what I wanted to do. So I left to fix that, but I didn't remember that it locked me out of the freaking lab. So, a little demo record to fix that problem, and now we're in the lab with Yurka and Hip. My first magic trick was to run through the lab as fast as possible to see if any documents we need are anywhere we can just grab and go, like stealing someone's online Chipotle order at the store. We didn't find anything, but we made it back unscathed. My friendlies were preoccupied with I don't know what, and what was really fun was the random controller spawn while I was playing with the Snork. I don't know how to narrate this. It was literal pandemonium. Controller, KS23, Hip, I don't know. We had to convince someone to do something about the Snork's Hip, I swear. We could get Hip to actually deal with them, but it wasn't easy. She kept wanting to run away, so I gave her a quick pep talk, psyched her up, and let her loose on the poor Snorks. And what a surprise, she actually did it. So there was one more spot for documents before we might be screwed. Lo and behold, they were right there. Just make sure not to get hit by the fridge on the way out. We went back to Strelok and his friends and handed in our missions. I forgot to mention the pseudo-giant that Rogue wanted us to deal with got clipped while we were spamming troops out of the Riverport base. Now before we got underway, I wanted to reorganize my inventory and try something interesting. We went and bought a veteran squad. It was a mistake, to be honest. They didn't end up being that helpful, and they cost a lot of money. But at least we were able to give Yurka the fancy Gauss rifle. First attempt at the Pripyat raid was just me and my boys, partially unsober, trying to attack the Monolith. It went horribly, with mostly everyone getting killed. Second attempt involved trying to recruit some more drunks into the cult, and shipping a couple extra squads into Pripyat as backup. As per usual, Hip got killed, so I reloaded the save. I thought I might try to let the extra squads make a little noise first before we jumped in, and all that did was this. I mean, yes, it did end up getting us worked over by a fracture, but believe it or not, a little patience paid off. One of our squads made it to a base, which means we could then spawn squads in the map area. They did not hold it very long, though. We wanted this base bad, because then we could introduce the Monolith to the Big Wave's proprietary squad spam. By some miracle, I got into this tunnel untouched, teleported my whole platoon, and walked through the opposition. Next was the base, and the Monolith were not going to let this go untouched. They came from both directions, but we had a lot of people here. We were not about to go down without a fight. I mean, we were really giving it to them. Full smoke and then some. Now with a base and a comfortable position to work from, I made a dumb decision to try to attack the main base again. This just got us killed. So we worked on our squad spam a little bit to see if we can lighten the load on ourselves. And what a surprise when Strelok got killed in the next assault. Clearly, we needed to really lean into the spam for this. I'm talking hot and spicy, none of this 25% less sodium shit. I'm probably up to a company's worth of troops at this point, and there was like another company already at the base. But believe it or not, we hit the Monolith where it hurts. And we managed to clip Eidolon. It's too bad I wouldn't quick save, and then I got shot and killed and had to do it all over again. At least the second time around, I got to film Eidolon catching all this smoke with his face. The stragglers of the Monolith were certainly causing issues, mainly killing off most of my soldiers, including the important ones that failed the missions. So we quickly ran away to avoid the trouble. I had a better idea for the CNPP. Instead of doing the usual route, I decided to make for home first. We wanted to re-equip and then make the jump to Zaton. From Zaton, we would enter the CNPP and start the journey from there. An early Monolith patrol would surprise us, and a Chimera or two would come join the fun. Nothing a couple how you doings won't solve. We tried a few different ways to assault the entrance. Most would end up getting my guys killed. But this way here ended up giving my guys the best cover, so it turned out alright. I mean, look at Yurka go. He had an absolute freaking unit. We even dealt with the interior entrance guards pretty easily. But now this is where it gets interesting. Going through the CNPP would be entirely impossible. However, we don't exactly have to do that. First, we have to go into the sarcophagus entrance to progress the mission. Then we jump back out and find our way around the CNPP. This gives us access right to the Monolith Control Center. From here, we have to deal with the Phantom Guard first. Then we can grab the artifact. It was all or nothing. So let my drunks loose on the Monolith and let the chips fall where they may. Took a few tries for sure, and I even took an intermission to go scrounge up some more allies. I got myself a veteran squad. How about that? And the next try, things got serious. We did also lose Hip and Yurka in this battle, but their sacrifice was not in vain. Once I heard the beep for the mission update, I wasted no time getting the artifact and talking to Strelok. And right here, everybody, is the end. It sure was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. Depending on where you stand with fast travel abuse, that's where we either win or lose on this challenge. I say we win, but I'll leave it up for interpretation. I want to thank Yurka Sorcerer for literally carrying this entire playthrough. He was an absolute monster. Please stay healthy, everyone. Peace out, and I will catch you on the flip.